Welcome to the 111 Approach podcast, your go-to space for deep thoughts, real talk, and exploration of everything from spirituality to self-development and the mysteries of life with some light-hearted humour along the way. I'm your host, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer, and each episode will dive into different topics, sometimes personal, sometimes thought-provoking, but always authentic. So whether you're here for some new perspectives, inspiration, or just a fresh take on the world with a bit of randomness thrown into the mix, you're definitely in the right place. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into it. Hi, it's Lakshmi here, and before we start this week's episode, I need your help. Next year, I am taking on the biggest charity challenge I've ever done. Now, for those of you who know me well, you know I love to do things for charity ever since I was a child, from sponsored dance-a-thons, sponsored silences. Yes, I know, hard to believe me being quite right. Sponsored abseilings down buildings, and last year, even sleeping out on the streets of London in the middle of October in just a sleeping bag. I really try and push and immerse myself in things to raise money for good causes. And next year, I am climbing Mount Kilimanjaro for not one, but two amazing children's charities. Cordwell Children, who help disabled and autistic children all over the world, and Cordwell Youth, who empower at-risk adults aged 11 to 24. Now, this is the biggest challenge I've ever taken on because, number one, the target I need to hit is the biggest one to date. I need to raise £5,000, all of which goes to the charities, because actually the trip and expedition itself is self-funded. But hey, if you're a business and would like to sponsor that side of it, please get in touch with me. And number two, I've never climbed a mountain in my life. Although I did make up my mind at age 5 that I did find a mountain in Canada and claimed it as my own. But that's a story for another day. So please, if you are able to make a donation, no matter how big or small, it will really help me reach that target. And I will be forever grateful to you, as will the children who the money will go to. So thank you again. The link will be in the show notes below. And enjoy this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the 111 Approach podcast with me, Lakshmi, aka the 1 Minute Healer. And as always, if you've been with me on this podcast journey for the year and a bit I've been doing it, you know I always start and finish with gratitude. So thank you for listening, for being in my space. Also, want to give a shout out to one of my new clients now who found me via this podcast. I thought she'd found me via me being a guest on somebody else's podcast. Because so far, a lot of my new clients came through some of those. But no, she was like, no, you popped up on my recommended on Spotify. And I was like, oh, wow, my podcast being recommended by the algorithm. Feeling very grateful for the algorithm now. And that actually leads us on to what we're going to be talking about today. Or when I say we, I mean I'm going to be talking about it. You're going to be listening. So, feel free to interact, people, when you listen to this. Drop me DMs right in the comments below. That would be quite good because guess what? That also pushes up the algorithm. And then I'll be recommended to even more listeners like this very beautiful new soul who has actually booked in to do some energy healing sessions. So this is why. And so this is a beautiful way of this is a really beautiful way of showcasing how the power of education, information can actually help people, because just having a few minutes as a taster session online, this person was really able to feel shifts, and they will text me the next day saying, I definitely want to do some regular sessions with you, because it's helping people, it's really changing people's mindset, lives, energies, feelings, physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, all levels are being helped. And this is what we're all here to do, really, is to help each other, right? So that was a long-winded way of saying thank you, but also, the comments, the shares, the reviews, they all help. And it's free, guys. For you guys, it's absolutely free to do. It takes me a second. Usually I do this plug at the end, but I'm just doing it at the beginning. I'm switching things up. Okay? So here we go. As I said, we were talking about algorithms, and today's topic is social media. So we live in a world now with social media, influencers, and the world is just not the same as it was even 10, 15 years ago, okay? And so this whole thing about social media, algorithms, likes, views, engagement hasn't really been part of our vocabulary for very long, yet it feels like it's taken over the world. Because whereas people maybe wanted to be in the limelight, you wanted to be famous, it was quite difficult to do. However, social media has turned that on its head in some ways, because everyday people are now sharing content, sharing their opinions, sharing their views. In some ways, is great because it's opened up a platform that was maybe not accessible to a lot of people. However, it can pose to be quite dangerous because every Tom, Dick and Harry are sharing their opinions, and a lot of it doesn't really come from great sources, and it can lead people astray. And there's this whole thing about people wanting to go viral. I want to go viral. I want views. I want followers. And nowadays, numbers have become so arbitrary and skewed, because when people say, oh, I've only got 2,000 followers, and I think 2,000 followers, 2,000. If we filled up a room with 2,000 people and you were then asked to go on stage and post one of your contents, or even read out a post that you've put on your Instagram or TikTok, or reenact it in front of these 2,000 people, I'm pretty certain the majority of us would be shitting a brick. You have no idea what 2,000 people or 2,000 pairs of eyes on you feels like, because it's all hidden behind a screen. And these numbers have just become so skewed. Like, oh, I only got 5,000 views on my last reel. That means that 5,000 pairs of eyes that are watching your stuff, it's kind of lost its meaning, I feel. And we are just like chasing these views, these likes, these engagements. For what, really? You know, a lot of it is just for validations. If you are a business like me, or your career depends on your social media and you providing a service or a product, then yes, you know, these bits of engagement, these views, they are really important because they do help your business grow if they're with the right people, if they're with the right audience, if the people who are engaging and watching are the ones that are going to be supporting you. So imagine my shock when the reel that went the most viral wasn't about healing or wellness or the 1 minute techniques or actually changing people's lives in that way. It was actually a reel where I was doing slightly provocative poses, fully clothed, by the way. My OnlyFans is not up yet, people. No shade on OnlyFans. Do what you got to do. But yeah, I was fully clothed and nothing outrageous. I was helping out a friend on her reel because she needed someone to be her client. And actually, I am a client of hers, or was, because now your girl is fully hairless. The laser did its job. Shout out to Garjal, my girl from Pristine Laser Clinic. But yeah, I was helping her do a funny tongue-in-cheek reel to help her showcase, you know, what she does. But we were just really shocked, actually, because we were just following a trend. And suddenly, over a day or two, views went through the roof. Like through the roof. And that was amazing because I was like, yes, I've helped out a friend, a fellow small business owner, someone who is grafting, someone who her whole life and livelihood relies on her business as it does for me. So I'm always happy to help out other small businesses. So I was so over the moon for her. And it was amazing because she was getting loads of views from the certain demographic that she was targeting to, you know, people who want laser hair removal. However, we noticed a quick shift in the views over a period of time. The demographics seem to then change into a complete opposite of what we were anticipating and what both of our followers have. And like I said, it wasn't even my reel. I was just a supporting role in that reel, but we were getting so many comments, so many engagement and views from really, I'm just going to say it, some creepy old middle-aged men, mainly from America. And it really got me thinking, like, you know, it's gone over 330,000 views now. And I was just like, what is going on? Firstly, it's not even overly sexual. Like I said, there's not really any skin showing. It's just the provocativeness of the poses. And it's to do with laser hair removal. And it got me feeling quite uncomfortable, actually. It's like, why does content like that perform better than that is actually going to help people, that's actually going to heal people, actually going to take them out of the miserable, stuck, painful lives that they're living. And like, it really hit me. I got a little bit depressed, actually. I was like, I'm doing all this work. I'm trying to follow my soul's passion. I know what I'm doing helps people. I get clients telling me how amazing the coaching programs, the healing programs are, and how much it's changed their life. And I love that. But I have to admit and be honest with myself when I was like, wow, a provocative, sexy-ish kind of reel got more views than a reel that I am actually helping and teaching people how to heal themselves. I'm not going to lie, it got me a little bit sad. Now, let's be brutally honest. Sex has always sold. They always say sex sells. Yeah? Why does sex sell? Now, sex has been used in advertising since the beginning of time. And sex trade is one of the oldest professions. And it circles back. I think the earliest evidence, I looked it up, was about 2400 BCE in the Sumerian temples. So it's at the end of the day, we are humans, and sex and reproduction is part of our natural state. So it's no surprise that anything that triggers that natural instinct is going to get attention, because that's just how our brains work, and other parts of our body as well. Yes, sex sells, because at the end of the day, we are just living organisms, and sex and reproduction is part and parcel of how we survive and how we evolve and how we reproduce. So, of course, there is going to be some baseline instinct of natural urges and desires. And these are then used in marketing and advertising and promoting to try and get our attention. Is that also always a bad thing? And I guess this is where everyone's own opinions and judgments and comfort levels will dictate as to what is deemed to be acceptable or not acceptable. And I always then circle back to who is making these judgments, because everyone is entitled to their own opinions. But I have to admit, when I found out about the types of people that were engaging and looking at this reel that went viral, when that shifted to a certain demographic that was clearly not going to be either of our audiences. Well, I say that, and as soon as I've said that, a little voice in my head, one of my guides were like, well, to be fair, you are able to help anyone and everyone, because energy healing is accessible to all, no matter what age, race, gender, culture, background you're from. So I guess that there is that caveat to it. But let's be honest, when we were looking at it and the comments that were being made on the post and on the reel, it was nothing to do with, yes, I want some energy healing, or yes, I want some laser hair removal. It was more about the nature of what we were doing and making tongue in cheek about the trend. Sex and sexual imagery, showing flesh and seeing something a little bit out there, has always gotten attention faster than almost anything else. And that's just the way, like I said, our brains are wired. Now, I did do a little bit of research to see why that is. And it was quite interesting, because one of the studies that were published in the International Journal of Advertising found that sexual appeal often increases attention and recall because people notice the advert and remember it more. Now, when you think about social media, obviously the main idea is attention. It's literally what social media is based upon, trying to grab and keep your attention. And if something makes people stop scrolling, even for 1 second longer, the algorithm gods notice. She paused. Now, isn't that incredible? That literally a second can make or break somebody's views, engagement, algorithm. And yet when we think about a second, it's so fleeting. And this is where time comes into it. Like this whole thing about I'm promoting 1 minute wellness, and people think, well, how much can you get done in a minute? Well, look at this on social media. If you pause for 1 second on someone's reel or someone's post, that to the algorithm is worth an hour because it means you're interested. It's caught your attention. It means more watch time. It means more engagement, and it means more distribution. So obviously, our brains are wired to notice things. Now, something that's really show-stoppingly beautiful that catches our eye. And on the other extreme, something that's really quite out there and maybe a little bit shocking or scary or not what we are usually used to seeing. So it could be on both sides of the spectrum, something very unusual. That's why when people maybe have deformities or very stark contrasts of appearances or something that is going to stand out from the crowd, that catches your attention because it's something that you don't normally see. And going back to the sex appeal and the sex selling, showing some cleavage or, something that is quite provocative in that way, or a hot guy with his top off, is going to get someone's attention. And so provocative content often gets boosted by the algorithm because it triggers curiosity. And this is what I love about people like Jamila Jamil, who is now just using that hack to get people attention and get the algorithm to start pushing her content out more. Is that a bad thing? In my opinion, no, because she's playing the game. She is an advocate for so many amazing ethical and moral standpoints. And we've heard lots of stories about people's posts not being shown or they're getting blocked because they talk about things that are quite triggering or are not deemed to be acceptable. So we are getting filtered, even though we have freedom of speech to some extent on these platforms. We still get filtered. When she wants to talk about something that's really important, she does wear a low-cut top and she admits it. She goes, there you go. You've seen my cleavage. Now listen to what I'm going to say to you because this is really important. And I really admire that about her because she is playing the game for the greater good. Now, when my reel started, when the reel that I was supporting Act On started getting more traction than usual, I took notice, obviously, because I found it was really interesting that something like that was getting a lot of views when I spend a lot of time talking about things that are going to actually help people. Simple healing practices, helping people get back to themselves, reconnect, remember, and realign with their own power. And yet the internet seemed more excited about playful, provocative poses. And it made me question something. What are we actually rewarding online? Is it health and wellness and your well-being? Or is it just something that's trying to keep you attached to your phone and your screen, stealing your time, stealing your energy, stealing your attention? But for what kind of reasons? And this is where I invite people to get really, really aware of what content you're consuming. What is it that makes you stop scrolling? Is it something that is deemed provocative? Or is it something that is prying on your vulnerability as well? Because that's also another attention grabbing tactic. Do you want to drop 3 dress sizes in a week? Well, try this patch or try this diet. Because what it's trying to do is to keep you spending the one thing you cannot get back. And that is your time. I always say this, money comes and goes. Your energy and your health can fluctuate as well. But time, you will never get back. So please just be aware of what is grabbing your time and stealing your time. because the algorithm doesn't care about your intention. It doesn't care whether your content is educational, healing, life-changing, profound, or whether it is just completely pointless and just somebody dancing around it in their living room with a carrot on their head. It only cares about signals. Did people stop scrolling? Did they watch the video? Did they like it? Did they comment? And what's sad is I feel like the sillier and stupider the video is, the more likes and engagement it's getting. So I'm thinking, what kind of world are we living in when we're rewarding or celebrating nonsense versus things that are actually going to help people? And the fact that we yearn for that dopamine hit and that validation is literally just an attention detector and grabber. God, I don't know. And so basically, you just got to remember that everything is just vying for your attention and your time and your energy. I just want people to start becoming a bit more aware of where they're spending their time and attention. Your money will come and go, but your time is very precious. So try and protect that as much as you can. Use it for things that are going to really lift you up. And so coming back round to this reel that went viral, at first I was like, wow, it's getting so many views. This is great. And genuinely, I thought, this is going to be so good for my friend's business. She's hopefully going to get so many inquiries and get people coming to her because what she does is amazing. But then when I found out about the shift in the demographic who was looking at it, it did make me feel a little bit uneasy and uncomfortable as to why I was getting that many, as to why we were getting that many eyes on our reel. But we can't control that. I could have let that feeling sit within me and make me feel bad about what I'd done and what I'd created. But in truth, I find it hilarious, that reel. I love making funny, trending reels that are relatable and are turning things on their head to make people take notice of what we're doing. I can't control how other people are going to see that and feel about it. But all I can do is raise awareness and hopefully put it out into the ether that the people with the right intention will see it for what it was and will have a laugh and a giggle about it. Those ones that are sending seedy DMs or writing comments about how that this is not appropriate, it's just your opinion. You've just taken the time and energy to go and review and comment and engage. That was your choice. People put out the content that they want to put out, and everyone has an entitlement to do so in whatever way, shape, or form that feels comfortable for them. It saddens me a little that the way to get views is to show a bit of skin or to do something provocative or to do something absolutely outright ridiculous so that it grabs people's attention. Where do we draw the line? I don't know, because everyone's line is different and it can get blurry for others. But for me, I know that I always stay true to what I enjoy and what I want to create and put out there. And I do enjoy the funny, laughing, silly reels because for me, life can get so serious and so deep so fast, especially because of what I do on a day-to-day basis. You know, the amount of pain, the trauma, the grief, the sadness, the heaviness that I feel people are carrying around. I then think life, we take it so seriously So sometimes it is nice just to have a little bit of fun, light-hearted, jokey humour. But we're never going to please everyone because everyone's different and their version of humour and appropriateness is different and it's all valid. So if something doesn't resonate with you or if you find offence to it, just move on because there's so much more to life and what we focus on expands. So focus on things that make you feel good, that make you laugh, that lift you up. And don't worry too much about things that maybe people are doing just for clickbait or trying to get a reaction out of you. Because the more energy you put into something, the more it will expand. So I invite you all to take a look at where you are spending the most precious asset that you have, which is your time, especially when you're on social media. What is grabbing your attention? And just be mindful of it. Is it something that you want to spend your time and energy consuming? And if so, brilliant. However, if you're finding that you are getting distracted and your time and energy is getting used by things that are not serving you, then do an algorithm clean. I've learned this very recently that you can actually go into your settings and look at what the algorithm is showing you and just declutter. Erase all the things that are not going to be serving you. And I do invite you to at least add one thing that you can educate yourself on because social media is a beautiful thing if it's used correctly. And yes, sex will always be there and sex will always sell because we are human and these are the things that do make us feel certain ways and certain feelings. And that's absolutely fine. And that is absolutely fine as long as it doesn't cross any lines to be hurtful to people or to make people feel bad about themselves because no one has the right to do that. And so if you have been affected by anything, if somebody's left any comments on your posts online, just remember, hurt people hurt people. So just send them some love, send them some forgiveness and send them some gratitude because at the end of the day, them leaving a comment has just pushed your algorithm up. So as we always say, gratitude is the attitude to have. And so as we end this episode, we're going to just do a 1 minute appreciation and meditation for yourself and your sex appeal. Because yes, they say sex sells, but that doesn't always have to be a bad thing. You can appreciate your sex appeal and how you feel about yourself in whatever way, shape or form you want, whether that is putting a spicy picture up on your Instagram. But I just want to remind people, do it for the right reasons. Don't be doing it to try and fill a void or get some validation from people. Because the only person, and I keep saying this over and over again, you're going to get so sick of me saying it, the only person that matters is you. So it's you who looks at that picture or looks at yourself in the mirror that needs to feel good about it without anybody else dropping a little heart comment or double clicking for a like or telling you that you look beautiful. Because the only person that's going to ever really feel it is you. And it has to come from within. It's got to come from you. And so that's why they always say self-love is the most important love. So with that in mind, I invite you, if it is safe, to do something a little bit different today with this 1 minute meditation. Go and find a mirror or look at yourself in your camera if you're listening to this on your phone. Only if it's safe for you to do so, because if you're driving, please do not do that. Please keep your eyes on the road. But yeah, I want you to connect with yourself, with your reflection. And just for 1 minute, I want you to really lock in on what a beautiful being you are. Look at yourself and find one thing that you are truly grateful for about yourself, the way you look, the way you feel, the way you smell. Because this is the only validation you need, is from your reflection and from yourself, from your inner soul. No amount of likes, engagement, comments from people online or in person is ever going to make you feel the way you yourself can make you yourself feel. When you truly, deeply love and appreciate yourself. Because there is no one on this planet who has ever lived previously or will ever live in the future that is you. You are a unique, beautiful soul. And the only person that really needs to realize that is you. Take a deep breath in. Put a smile on your face as you breathe out. And remember to please be kind to yourself. Love yourself. It might be harder on some days than others, but you're a freaking amazing person. And there is no one else like you. So just like you, love you, and just be you. And on that note, I'm going to remind you all to download this episode, rate and review and share it. Tag me if you're sharing it on your socials. And I will see you all on the next episode. Sending you love, light and blessings.